about the seashells. Thank you. You know, this might be the most humble gift I've ever received, but it could also be the most precious. Truthfully, I was somewhat skeptical of whether you were actually listening to my ramblings. And for that, I am deeply grateful. I've always had the impression that Duncan became rather weary of my endless babble. Though, upon reflection, I confess I found his conversations equally tiresome. I'm sorry to cut this visit short, but there is something I simply must attend to as soon as possible. But I'd really love it if you visited again soon. Absolutely. I've longed to leave these four walls. Oh, I'm terribly curious about where you have chosen to take me. Let's depart. I wish to waste no more time in waiting. This is quite an endearing spot, albeit rather windy, and the decor leaves much to be desired. I must confess that ghastly statue had entirely escaped my memory until now. Now, what shall we talk about? You know almost everything there is to know about me, and yet I hardly know anything about your life. Tell me, have you always been a mercenary? I can only imagine such a skill set must be exceedingly beneficial. It's well known that any noble house of distinction maintained a gamekeeper. I was immensely thankful for ours. The very idea of taking a life, handling all the blood, the viscera, those lifeless eyes, it quite turns my stomach. Such a poetic perspective on what might otherwise seem a harsh reality. I suppose understanding the balance of nature does bring a different perspective. Raised as I was in the capital, the wilderness was more a concept than a reality to me. The wildest I ever encountered was our own garden, left untamed after our dear gardener's demise. Oh, my dear, you cannot fathom the shock. Wild deer frolicking just beyond my windowsills, it's bewildering. And yet, there's a tranquility to it that's surprisingly comforting. But let's pivot back to you. This exchange was meant to illuminate your life, not revisit mine. But first, shall we toast to serendipitous companionship in the embrace of nature? Now, I must admit, I've been positively aching with anticipation to delve into the tales of your exhilarating escapades. Your life appears so fabulously thrilling, So, do tell me, what's the most exciting thing that has happened to you recently? Oh, you flatterer. That's rather obvious, isn't it? No, no. Tell me about some of your real adventures, if you don't mind. Have you encountered any other captivating individuals? Oh, no. Don't tell me that ridiculous little legend the locals insist on sharing is actually true. I do adore a bit of folklore, but to actually believe it, unthinkable. Go on then, convince me. I simply must hear more. As a proper sea monster should be, nobody weaves grand tales about a monster smaller than a ship, do they? That would hardly have the same thrilling allure. Don't be coy, darling. You should know by now that I rarely do anything for which I have no patience or desire. Besides, the evenings here are indeed rather slow, so the prospect of your delightful company to enliven them is most welcome. Now, I've had a lovely time, but it's getting late, and I'd rather not be caught by nightfall on my way home. I do hope we can do this again sometime.